In today's episode of the Platform Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Kristin Dorsey, and she's hailing over as a VP of Marketing at Linc. And Linc is all about customer experience automation. Or I should say they're about customer experience, and they make it much easier for you guys to actually handle it and organize it and bring it to a very good outcome. So today we're going to talk about Linc. We want to talk about growth for Linc, and therefore we are happy to have Kristin on the show. So welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Of course. So maybe give us a 360 overview. What is Linc all about in your own words?
Yeah, absolutely. So Linc is the only CX automation platform that's purposefully built for retail. So retail brands, we work with enterprise retailers from PacSun to Pampered Chef to Levi's, Carter's, and so on and so forth. And really what the platform allows these fantastic brands to do is to automate chat on their website, but do it in such a way that actually resolves issues for customers. So as customers have inquiries, whether it's from a pre-purchase standpoint to post-purchase, those inquiries can be completely automated. So we actually are able to automate upwards of 85% of inquiries for customers through chat. It's kind of a first line responder, if you will, before going on to human agents if needed.
That makes sense. So at what point in their journey would they would end users get in contact with the chat? Would that be if they're already decided for an item but have questions? Is it when they're getting started? Is it after the fact when they bought something and have to figure out how to resolve, let's say, an issue? Like, where in the journey does Linc typically sort of kick in?
All along the journey. So it's really at any of these kind of service moments, right? So whether they have a question about product, which is actually something that's really unique to Linc because our ability to really scale. So if you have thousands and thousands of SKUs, we're able to provide that product information to customers, provide related items, whether they're in stock in the store, if they want to move into a brick and mortar, go into the store now that everything's open again, or post purchase. So where's my order, or there's something missing from my order, or I need to process a return. All of those steps along the customer journey, they could use Linc.
Very good. Now, who in particular would you say would be the champion within those organizations for Linc? Is that like a CX leader? Does it come really more from maybe the customer support that who says, we need some relief? Like where does the pull typically come from?
Yeah, it's really interesting actually because it can come from several different areas within the organization. So often we see something coming from CX, so either a CXO or up through even the CIO as well. Coming more from that, we need to really increase our support capacity, right? It's very difficult, as we know, to hire support staff to keep them, on board. And so they come to Linc looking for a solution around automation to really increase that support capacity. But then as well, from just a brand experience, we work with CMO, CXO, CEO, more on the revenue generation side, because when you're able to provide appropriate information to customers pre-purchase, you're going to see that revenue generation grow.
Very cool. Now, how would you say do they learn about Linc? Like, what's the journey like? What's the channels that they're going through? In other words, what are sort of the key client acquisition channels that you guys leveraging on the website?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the clients that we've worked with have found us through events, found us through social connect. LinkedIn is really our number one channel because that's where these folks are spending their time and connecting with others in the industry. One of the things that we found is that it's a small industry in a way because folks often really stay within the retail space and kind of move from brand to brand. And so it's very much a big family in a way. And so it's really important that we reach people where they are. And so we are really intent on building great content, really great value to help the CIOs, CXO, CMO, et cetera, learn about Linc and learn about what's possible with CX automation.
What role do you think the website plays? Like, how do you think about the experience of those experience managers when they're getting to know customer experience automation? Like, what role does the website play?
That's a great question, because it's one of the interesting challenges that we have is that our platform is built for retail, not for our business. And so when you go on to Linc.cx right now, you don't see chat. One of the reasons is that we're actually working on internally building out another part of the platform to help serve our customers, because our brands, have a completely different, taxonomy and set of integrations and all of that to really serve that retail customer. And so it's really been an interesting journey with us with our own website. So what we find is that often folks who are coming to our website are coming because they've heard about Linc in other places. I mean, this isn't something in large extent that folks are Googling, because CX automation is a little bit on the newer end of things. And so what we're needing to do is reach beyond our website to reach our buyers. And so part of what we're doing is rolling out in the next 2 weeks, actually, a community site called CX Factor. And the idea here is that we want to really provide some incredibly valuable information, community, and a place for people to come to find what events to go to or what podcasts to listen to around CX and retail. And so that's one of the ways that we're really reaching beyond ourselves. It's not only about Linc and CX automation, it's how do you really improve the CX for your customers across the board. And so we want to really be a part of helping to build that community.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure like people are listening in who are sort of on the edge of the marketing / the CX side, they're definitely going to be quite, if they're in retail, of course. And we love that, right? Because we hear a lot of marketers on the show, they always want to, it's actually more often than just the marketing tools, they want to learn about the industries. They want to really learn about how it actually works in particular industries, specifically if they take on new roles. So that is a fantastic angle to a community. Now, what have you personally learned because you mentioned the website there and that particular sort of positioning that you're taking? What have you learned in general over the years? Like what drives people to actually sign up for a demo? Is there any approaches, methods, tools that you've picked up over the years that you found to be helpful in that regard?
I think one of the big shifts that we're seeing in B2B marketing as a whole is kind of getting outside of our own box, and focusing less on trumpeting our product and our value and our solution and all of this, and really putting ourselves in the shoes of our consumer. And so it's a really much more empathetic approach, much more again about learning what are the struggles that they have in their job? What are they trying to accomplish, whether it's within their role, their organization, their career, and how do we as a brand help to support that, right? So, if someone is championing, especially an enterprise platform, that's a big part of their strategy internally. That's a big part of, initiatives that they're rolling out in the next, years to come. And so it's incredibly important that you're really understanding how do we provide value to them? How do we help to set them up for success in their career? It's not a transaction. It's a long-term partnership, and that's something that I've really learned, throughout my years in B2B marketing, which is really exciting because I don't want to be a part of a transactional sale. I want to be a part of an experience for people.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Very cool. No, that gives us a good picture about Linc and its growth. So I would love to sort of switch gears a little bit and learn about your journey as a marketer. The first thing that I'm curious about is there's so much content out there, right, for marketers to learn and read from and educate yourself. What have you found to be between all the noise, like to be like, a source of valuable information? Where do you turn when you want to educate yourself in marketing?
Great question as well. Podcasts. And I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. There just are so many fantastic folks, in the industry that are sharing great content, sharing ideas, sharing questions, and a lot of that kind of takes me off into, paths of reading an article or stumbling onto, a new site or ordering that next book from Amazon. And so because all of us are incredibly busy, I find LinkedIn is such a great resource because I can spend 5 minutes, in between a call, pulling together information or learning something new. So it's a really big area that I go into. And then as well, about 2 years ago, I went through actually a brand marketing course done through, and I'm gonna completely forget the name now. But
No worries, it will come back.
yeah, it was just a fantastic chance to step kind of outside of my, 9 to 5, if you will, and really dive into just kind of the deeper learning around brand marketing, which is, an area that I love. And so yeah, I think as a marketer, you have to always be finding opportunities to learn, gathering new insights and seeing, what your peers have to say about things.
Very cool. As we sort of now approaching the end of the interview, for the very last question, I would love to ask you, right? If you sort of put yourself back into the shoes of your first role in marketing, right, all the way back. Now, looking back from it or looking to it from today, what's the one advice that you would give your own journey as a marketer?
It's never too early into a role to get on a call with a customer or get in front of a customer or get to know a customer. If and I mean, I've heard this advice given, a lot, and it's often easy to forget or easy to, just get too busy and not make time for it. But really being able to get to know your customers beyond a survey, beyond, industry analysis, and really understand where do they go to learn, and, what are the questions that they have, and how did they find us to begin with, and all of these things. So that would be the biggest piece of advice that I'd go back and give myself at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, Kristin, we really appreciate you took the time with us today to be a guest on Pathmark Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Linc today, what's the one thing that people should remember?
Linc is really changing the conversation in commerce. It's really getting out of the uncomfortable past of bad bots, and moving toward real conversational AI that resolves problems.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmark Presents.
Thank you.